pretty much settled down. Thanks for all coming up and having fellowship with us. We got to start doing more of these things. We did last week. We had our Mother's Day lunch. We had quite a crowd in here. And coming up for Pentecost, we're going to have birthday cake because Pentecost is the birthday of the church. It'll also be when we culminate our Turning the Corner Together campaign. But I'm not here to do the talking today. I'm just here to be sort of off to the side listening. We have members of the Administrative Commission here. And I'd like them to introduce themselves so that you can learn who they are.
Excuse me. My name is Paul Nags, and I'm from Grace Presbyterian Church in Lakewood. I've been a member there for lots of years. My wife was a lifelong member at Grace, so I know its history and its people, and I'm very happy to be here. I love your church. It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous church.
Hi, my name is Barb Lugo, and I'm the moderator for the AC. That stands for Administrative Commission. And I am an elder at Mentor Presbyterian Church, so I'm not too far away. If you have any questions or anything, you can always find me there. I just want to talk a little bit too, before we have Anna. We had an AC visit us about 5 or 6 years ago, I guess it was. Yeah. We were in financial dire straits. I mean, we had $2,000 left in the bank, and in our monthly cost for the church was $2,000. So we were just about ready to, look at, okay, what are we going to do? So the Administrative Commission came forward, gave us a lot of good ideas, and we're still running. Well, we have $56,000 in our bank now, with a little bit of an endowment, but our members, we only have 30 members, so we're smaller than you guys are. And we do have a minister or pastor that comes every Sunday for free, so that helps a lot. And we're looking at getting up to over 60,000 so that we can call somebody, to come and be our pastor. But at this point, we went through the whole thing with the Administrative Commission, and at first it's like, what are you telling us to do? And we didn't want what they wanted us to do. Well, we wanted to stay alive, because this was our church. We wanted to say, okay, we know that we have to make changes. Give us some ideas. And they gave us some ideas, and they thought, just think outside the box. And it's like, okay, it's hard to do that when you only have 30 people. And most of the people, I would say, was 60 and above. So, you can't call on all the elderly to do some really scrubbing the floors, but it got done one way or the other. But they gave us ideas, and we kind of took those ideas and kind of twisted them to what we can do, and so we're still surviving. We're still 5 years, 6 years, I can't even remember how long it's been, but we're still going. Okay, so we're not here to say, you got to do what we tell you to do. Okay, we're not here for that. We want to know what you think you can do. We want to know what you want in the future. This is your church. You know it better than anybody. You know the community better than us. But we have been through things. We have some experience. We have some ideas that might help.
I'm Alan Gruber. I am not on the administrative committee. I'm here because my wife Carol Neubauer, who is on the administrative commission, has a bad cold and didn't want to come here and give everybody back home. So I came to listen, take some notes. I'm from Northfield Presbyterian Church in Northfield, Ohio, and I'm not here representing the Committee on Ministry. I am a member of the Committee on Ministry, but I do not represent the Committee on Ministry here. And I'm very glad to be here as well, and like Barb, just anxious to hear what members of this church want to do.
We need to back up one.
Hello. Hi, I'm Meredith White, and I'm serving as the pastor at Noble Road Presbyterian Church. And the reason I volunteered to be on this administrative commission is because for the past 15 years, Noble Road has probably been having some of the same conversations that you all are having regarding, we don't have enough money, and our building is costing a lot of money, and we feel like we're a vital congregation, and we aren't hearing answers or solutions, and we don't know what to do. And before I was there, and I've been there for about 8 years, so even in the time that I was there, my congregation was not interested in having an administrative commission from the presbytery help us. And I will tell you that I understand that feeling. It does feel a little bit, if you don't know who we are, how are you going to tell us things that you don't know? And so we didn't actually read about, it would have been 2018, looked at our budget and said, we can put away, they wanted to make sure, we have 3 employees, a music director, an office manager, and myself, and they said, we need to take care of our people. And I love them for that very much. So they said, well, we can put away a severance. So take that right out of our budget. If we do that, and we don't change our budget, we will run out of money by X date. And so that was the beginning of 2018. We gave ourselves till the end of 2018 to make some decisions. So we could make it another 1.5 years. So we had till the end of 2019, and we were going to run out of money, give people a severance package, and send us all on our way. So 2019, we set 3 goals. We said we need to increase our pledges by a significant amount. I'm trying to remember what that was now. I think it was 10,000, which was a lot. I mean, we were a congregation at the time on the rolls. We had about 50. We were worshiping about 30. And so we need to increase our tithes. We also need to raise $10,000 cash through fundraising, through donations, through whatever we could do. And we need at least 3 new active members, which, doesn't sound like a lot, right? Except for, you can have people come in and out all the time, but who stays and who, because one of the things we were really struggling with was that our church has a lot of energy and a lot of love and a lot of want to do, and it was all going into leaf raking days and wall painting days, and it was the same 8 people that showed up for those things every time, and we were like, we don't have the humans capital. We don't have the energy to keep doing this. Even if we had all the money we needed, if we don't have some new energy, we're exhausted. So, I'm here to tell you that in 2019, we actually hit those goals. And the new members was a little iffy because 2 of them were under the age of 5. But they brought a lot of energy. And so, but we hit those goals. And I mean, you could have knocked me over with a feather when we realized we'd actually managed to raise $10,000. And we said, okay, we got it. We got another year. We can do 2020. It's going to be wonderful, right, everybody? Beginning of 2020, we all said, this is going to be our year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, COVID hit. And so one of the things we had done was we really were planning community events. And on March 14th of 2020, we had planned a community event specifically for maybe the senior members of the neighborhood on senior scams. We contacted the Scam Squad. It's part of the Better Business Bureau, Cuyahoga County something Scam Squad, and they were going to do a presentation on, you know, those phone calls from not your grandson that he's in jail and needs gift cards, those things. You know, how to know them, how to recognize them, how to report them, and everything. And it was also Pie Day, so we were going to have pie for everybody. And, well, yeah, that was March 14th. We canceled it. We had about 4 or 5 other that style event, community events. We just said, maybe if we just get people coming into our building and they can see, you know, who we are and what we do, like, because we feel like that we're a neighborhood church. This is our mission. Well, we had to cancel all of those. Our tithes dropped. Participation dropped. We were not a good Zoom church or video, YouTube. I mean, it just wasn't. That's not how we like to worship, because we like to hug and be in present contact with each other. So by the end of 2020, we really said, yeah, we thought we had it, we don't have it, and we're just down at the bottom. And I don't know if it was smart or not, but I came up with this ridiculous idea. I said, well, can we be a church without a building? If the building is what's taking our money and taking our energy, would you guys still think we were a church if we didn't have our building? And I thought, well, this is going to be a lead balloon, right? There's no way. And yet they took it seriously as a question. And we took it to the congregation, and we prayed about it, and we talked about what does that look like, and where would we go, and how would we do the things that we do, and they decided, well, let's see. And we put the church on the market, and within a week we had an offer from the public library next door that abuts our property, what was our property. It was a reasonable and fair offer. It wasn't what we were asking, but it was the library, and that was what we really wanted, was that the church continued to be a community center, a resource, a gathering place, all of the things that we said we are. We knew that if the library took it over, that would continue. And so we accepted their offer, we sold the building, we sold our parking lot, which is not connected to the building, you know, one of those weird church things. And we moved, and I will tell you, it was heartbreaking. It was hard. It was a lot of work. It was not something I would ever recommend gleefully and joyfully to anybody, because just imagine, I'm sure you have a library somewhere here. I mean, that probably was the hardest thing, was just the history contained in those books. You know, 14 previous pastors worth of outdated, dusty books that no one had read in 40 years. So you know, we did that. And we're currently worshiping in Bloomfield Hall at Lyndhurst Presbyterian Church. They offered us a space. We started in their sanctuary and we said, this isn't us. It's a little bit too much church for us. We're a pretty casual group. So now we worship in a circle of chairs and we sing a cappella because we don't have a piano. And we've lost people. I'm not gonna say everything hasn't been wonderful. But we are still a church, and we are still doing the work. We are still doing the fellowship and the spiritual growth and the weekly worship and communion and caring for one another and doing outreach. We have a group that volunteers with St. Philomena, packing clothes and working on their. So we're still doing all the things that we felt made us church. This is not a great story. I'm sorry, but. During Holy Week of this year, the library had decided that really it was not in their best interest to try to update our old building, and they demolished it. So, and I mean, our members still live in the neighborhood. We have 2 families in particular that literally live a block away. I mean, they would walk to church, and I mean, but it was during Holy Week, which felt really, really sacred. I mean, you have Jesus sitting there in front of the temple saying, not one stone will be left upon another, as we're watching our beloved building. Not one stone is left upon another. And yet Jesus says in that, and yet God will do greater things than this. And we're just in that transition. So back to the thing about administrative commissions. Had we had a vision like that, I believe that we could have really benefited from some outside voices, because we're winging it. You know, each day we're kind of going, now what do we do? Or what happens next? Or are there resources for us? Maybe not financial, but ecclesiastical resources that would say, here's other people that have done churches without a building. Now Sharon Core, our general presbyter, she also was part of a church that sold their building. And they sold their building, and it was turned into, I believe, affordable housing for the community, which was a huge need in the community that she came from. That was her previous call before she came to us. You know, and I think we could have benefited from her wisdom in that process.
I didn't know we were going to give our story.
I didn't know that. I'm late. I didn't hear the introduction.
I started off and I just introduced myself.
There you go. It's your turn.
As I said, I'm from Grace, and we have, we're in the same boat that you are, we were, and 7, 8 years ago, we have one gal who's owner of a company and very good on finances. And I do a lot of the maintenance of the church, and it kind of, the one that call when something breaks, and it, you know, that's phone's ringing all the time. But she and I sat down and talked together, and we decided that, you know, we were also in financial trouble and didn't have much longer to go without something changing. And I said, well, what do we do? And she goes, I don't know. And well, maybe I'll call Presbyterian. No, I'm going to call Lou Will first. Lou Will was a pastor at Faith Presbyterian Church, and Grace and Faith had a good communication. We did plays together, we did field trips together. And so I knew Lou and knew he'd be forthcoming and forthright. And he says, you need to call Presbyterian. So, ministry on the commission on ministry. And I did, and not long after that, I was called to be on the AC for Grace, because they wanted a member from Grace on the commission. I said, yeah, I'm glad to do that, because I can tell you exactly where every nut and bolt is, and who does what, and what we are. And they came out and said, first of all, you got to tell us whether you have the energy to do this. And I said, okay, I'm going to speak for me, and then I'm going to speak for the church. And I said, if we close our doors, I'm going to be the last one out the door to lock the door behind me, because I love the place and I know every nut and bolt. So I said, but the church is tired. We've done campaigns, we've done missions, we've done everything we could. My wife and I ran a reverse raffle for 3 years to try and make funds. And we did a good job of making money, except we spent as much money as we made. If it wasn't for the fact we had the food donated for the dinner beforehand, we wouldn't have made any money at all. But so it was fun. It was tiring. It didn't make us much. Somebody said, why don't you just donate the money to the church and be done with it that way? Next year we didn't have a reverse raffle. So I went to Lou, and Lou sent me to Presbyterian. Presbyterian came up with an AC, and so we tried to figure out where we had the energy. And so we started having congregational conversations, because I wanted to let the congregation know what I was hearing from them, and find out if we had the energy, to find out if we wanted to continue, if we wanted to sell our building and buy a small building and have church there. And again, that didn't sound like a very good idea, but it had to cross the plate. And we said, well, our biggest problem is, our pastor, because we don't have the money to pay for pension and hospitalization and retirement, and so we needed to get to a different pastor, and AC said, well, we could supply you a pastor. We could supply you a weekly pastor, a monthly pastor, or you could go out and find your own pastor. And I said, well, who would we find as our own pastor? Well, there's lots of Presbyterian pastors who are retired, and you wouldn't have to pay those benefits. I called Lou, because he was retired from Faith at that time. Lou took a week to get back to me, and I was on pins and needles the whole time, and agreed to it. That was 6 years ago. He agreed to a 3-month deal that he would come and be with us for 3 months. I talked to him just a month ago about being on this AC and what his feelings were about it. And he said, the only reason I'm still here is that you folks are doing what needs to be done by Christians. You're not just letting me do it, the reverend, the pastor. You're all doing it. We've got a gal who's blind. She can large print, and she's in the choir, but she can't really see that much, so she can't drive. But she sends out Christmas cards and anniversary cards and birthday cards to all the members. And she just does it on her own. Now our membership committee gives her money every so often for stamps. That's expensive anymore. But that's one thing that she can do. So she does it. We have a prayer committee, 3 prayer chains, that call folks to let them know there's something that needs to be prayed for, as you folks did here this morning in your service. I'm properties. So we have a custodial service that comes in twice a week and sweeps up, empties the garbage cans, and it's a lot easier than having our folks, because I'm 74, and I'm right in the middle of the range of ages. The youngest one in the church is my granddaughter, she's 10, then my daughter, who's 40, and then 50, 60, 70-year-olds. We have some 80-year-olds who are still very active in the building. In fact, one couple who is 80 set up the communion every Sunday morning. And we do communion with 2 cups, one for bread, one for the juice. and the elders go down and hand thank you, I want to say ornaments. I knew that wasn't right. Elements to each person. And so when they run out of cups, they call me and I order another 1,000. So it's working out very well. And we're in the same building. And it's difficult. One of the only things that keeps us going financially is we rent our entire education wing to the YMCA all week. 8-10 hours a day. They're in our Christian education classrooms with daycare. And we get $3 grand a month from them. And every year we've increased it 2%. And it's just, we have AA meetings, we have 6 AA meetings, and they just, a token, but we figure that's our mission, is to reach out. 2 years ago, I learned about LEDs and how inexpensive they are to run. And I'm looking here at all of these fixtures, and I had to replace 408 fluorescent bulbs, 4 feet long, and I reduced the bill, the electric bill, by $3,000 in 1 year, because our lights in the classrooms are on all day long. And so it's, you know, it was a nice way to spend a little bit of money. I spent about $1,500–1,600 to save $3 grand the first year. So, and I found out about it through Presbyterian. Yeah, Keith called me up and said, what can we do for you to help your energy? I said, I'll take some fluorescent bulbs, please. And they gave me $100 worth of bulbs, and it's surprising how far $100 will go at Home Depot. Plus the fact that I then get some free gasoline out of it. I have a plow truck, so, you know, free gas is a good thing. So, you know, it works hand in glove. I made something for the church, and the church got a lesser bill, saved some money from the money that comes in from our rental. And I guess that's my story. That's really introducing myself now to you. And I've enjoyed being on this AC because I think I can give back, pay out, pay forward, whatever you want to say. Pay forward what I've learned from the AC at Grace. And I hope I haven't bored you completely, but I'm excited about my church.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, now it's time to hear from you all. I don't know how I'm going to, I think if we start one place, if you have something, at least let me know your name, and if you have any positions in the church, what do you see your church doing? Try to keep it to 2 minutes.
Oops.
But I'd like to hear from people. So Thelma, we already know you, but is there anything you want to add to your?
Not at this time, but I'd like to, maybe later, I'd like everybody else to talk first. I've done quite a bit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I hate being first also. See, if I'd have been second, I'd have known what they were going to say. So.
All right, so, name?
I'm Lynn Bennett, and I started out working in the nursery when we had a nursery years ago. Worked in there many years, worked in the kitchen. I do help out in the kitchen every now and again, and that's really about all I do for the church. I attend weekly, and you know, I'm here if I'm needed. You know, I try to help out. That's about it.
And where do you see this church going?
I don't know. You know, I've tried to bring in new members several years ago. I was on a committee and, tried to get new members to come, but all my friends that I've known forever are Catholic, so it's a little hard to get them to come to worship here, so, you know, I pray that we can continue to be a church, and I don't know where to get the new growth, I don't know. I'm willing to help.
Maybe we might have some suggestions.
Yeah, I'm Keith Bennett, I'm financial secretary and elder, and I felt for the last couple of years, membership was our biggest problem. With 10 more members, the finances would turn around. We wouldn't have so few people doing all of the work, it would be spread out, but I think that's probably one of the harder things to solve too, is to come up with new members, and I'd like some direction on how to do that. We've done a few things as far as, you know, going to the community center and putting bulletins in there and stuff, but I think that's our biggest problem.
I'm Dave Bliss, I'm an elder. I'm on building and grounds, and I'm the head of security. One thing I want to make certain is we're never going to leave this church. We're always going to be a church. And second, we're not going to leave this building.
So your future, you see, is staying in this building, but you want to get membership, you want to get more money, correct?
You know, one of the things that we looked at Grace was getting more membership, and I was afraid too many of our people looking at membership were looking at dollar signs instead of the cross. You know, if you think of membership as only money they're bringing into the budget, that's the wrong thought. If you're bringing someone in to have them join Christ, have them meet our Lord, then that's completely different. And it might change the way you ask.
Good point.
I'm Annie Playtas, I'm on the session, I'm an elder. I work in the thrift store. I'm liturgist when they need me. And willing to do anything that I can to help the church.
And where do you see it going?
Hopefully upwards, you know. Membership again is our goal. But it's gonna be tough. You know, we have no younger people, so we've got to try and find somebody that fits in our age group, like they can be younger, you know. The 50s will work, you know, if we could find, sorry, you guys. The 50s, more people in that age group that, you know, have grandchildren. And, but that's difficult, that's a difficult age group to reach. They all probably have their own affiliations, and so it's difficult.
Well, I'm going to ask a question. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just had a question about the thrift store. It sounds like something that's a big thing for this church every month.
It's the first.
Does it have the potential to lead to more membership? Do people who come look at the church here and say, this might be a home, a church home?
We are trying that. Elder Wade is down there on the first Saturday of every month. He's talking to the people that attend the thrift store.
Yeah.
And he's introducing himself, and we're trying that way to get more people to come back on Sunday just to check us out, and hopefully they'll say sign the book with an address so that we can, you know, we can get in touch with them and encourage them to come back. So it is. I mean, the thrift store is probably the main fundraiser.
It's a main way to reach people,
And the main, It's full. The first Saturday of every month is packed down there.
We're packed.
We get lots of people from the community, and people are inviting their friends and other family members to come. I mean, it's a social occasion as well as trying to get people to come to our church.
I wish I could tell you an encouraging story, but, you know, the church, Northfield, where I attend, has a daycare with about 120 kids. And I can, there's not one of them
Right,
family that attend our church.
right.
Yeah.
That's been for
And
as
that's-
long as we've had the daycare.
And that's why it's hard,
Yeah.
you know, that's why it's hard.
But
Because
it's,
the people that come have got other church affiliations, but they come to our thrift store.
yeah,
So, and we have a few people from other churches that help us. You know, they'll come in and they'll help sort, and
Yeah.
they'll stay on Saturday and help us, but then they go to their own church on Sunday.
yeah.
So it's difficult, it really
Yeah.
is. But we'll get there.
Thanks.
Okay.
Becky Philby, I work at the thrift store also. I also just took over the prayer chain. If somebody's sick or there's something that I have to call. Our biggest problem is the membership, but truthfully, I don't know how you're ever gonna solve that, because truthfully, almost everybody in the area already goes to a church. And, we see so many people at the thrift store, but, you know, Elder Wayne is doing a great job talking to everybody, but, like I said, either people don't go to another church or they don't go to church at all. I don't know how you can solve that.
Tell them to get an old chair if you come to the church. How long have you been here, Becky?
Almost 12 years.
12 years. Gentlemen?
Excuse me, my name's Mike Butzbach. I'm not even a member here. I was baptized here, I went to Sunday school here. My parents are members here. There was a lot going on with the church, with splits and everything a long time ago, which alienated a lot of the congregation. This place used to be packed. These same chairs were set up down in the sanctuary on holidays, Christmas and what have you. And church has come a long way in the wrong direction, and I don't know how you fix that. I got re-engaged when my parents' health was failing and my dad passed away. So I'm just helping out where I can. But like Dave, this is the only church I've known, the only church I've been to. So,
Thank you, Mike. And what do you see in the future?
I don't know. We're under great leadership now.
Okay.
He's doing
With Elder Wayne, so I don't know. So I don't know where we're gonna go. Now we fix it. This is an aging community. I live 2 streets away. Probably one of the younger people on the street. I'm in that.
Yes, you are.
I'm in that 50 age group, it's just for 1 more year. So.
Stay there as long as you can.
It's nice to be the youngest sometimes. Okay.
Cynthia Massey, I'm one of the elders too in session, and I'm also part of the first start. And also I'll do anything to help out when I can. Hours permitting with my job, it's hard to work and come here. I think it's just signs, like we said, with the community is older. Wickliffe, you can see a lot of places closing, it's just everywhere. So, it's just signs of the times. Places are shutting up, stores, everything, so. But I feel that you just fight, you just don't give up. You shouldn't close. Places are closing up, and it's like you can't give up. You know, yeah, church is not a building, but you have a nice building, why close it up? That's what people do, they give up, and I think you should fight to the end. Just keep fighting.
It's Kenny, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I only grew up about 4 or 5 houses down the street, and I can remember, I look around, look at the trees, I remember when they were saplings. Yeah, so I see the church me to do it. But I'm like this, I go with the majority, yes. And I hope and pray that we succeed.
So you see the future as staying here in this?
Oh,
building?
yes,
Absolutely.
yes. That's all I know.
He has a vested interest. Mike's mother was his teacher.
Oh, yes. Yes, oh, yeah.
He still calls her Mrs. B.
Yes, oh, yeah, that's out of respect. I can remember when all she would do is to just look, you know, there was no, didn't have to worry about a paddle or anything. Straight and right up. When we tell Miss Moss, said no. Yeah. And also Mrs. Marshall.
Yeah.
was my art teacher. So it's amazing to worship with everybody. It's a beautiful bunch of people. Yes.
Thank you.
Enjoy it. It's like my lifeline. Yep.
And we'll all be praying for you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Next.
My name is Helen Smith, and I work at the thrift store with Deborah, and our minister, he helps us. We work together, the three of us. And we used to have a Sunday school here at one time. I was a Sunday school teacher. And I love this church. I love the people here. I mean, Mark and I, and there was about 7 or 10 of us, we went looking for a church. Because our church closed, Emmanuel Presbyterian. So we went around and we looked and looked and we looked and we finally came here. And we really liked it, we did. So I've been here about 15 years. It's about 15 years now. And I love it, and I love the people, and I'm a good worker. I work hard.
Oh,
So,
Helen, tell them what you do now.
pardon me?
Tell them what you do now.
Oh, Monday through Friday, oh well. I live in Willowick. And the school, Royal View Elementary School, is there. And when my husband died, I had to do something. So I went over to talked to one of the ladies, and I said, I have to do something. She said, what do you like to do? I said, I love children. She said, well, the school's in your backyard. Go head over there. So I did. And her name was, the principal was Miss Tammy. And she said, oh, we could use volunteers. Okay. So I've been there 12 years volunteering at Royal View School from 9 o'clock in the morning to about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But if the teachers need me more, I stay. And then I'm also a lunch aide now. For 2 years I've been doing lunch aide. And then I do kindergarten, tutoring in kindergarten, and I do 4th grade reading. Yeah, I help the teachers with their reading. Yeah, and then I also volunteered Lake Farm Park. I was supposed to work yesterday at the farm park, but my grandson had his prom. I can always make popcorn, but I can't always see my grandson. So forget the popcorn. So I went to see Andrew at his prom. I've been here 12 years at the Lake Farm, and they call us the popcorn ladies. I've been making popcorn for all those years. Yeah.
So what do you do in your spare time?
So I mean, I'm really busy. And
Yeah.
You love it.
I have to keep busy. I'm not one to sit. I'm not. I've got to keep doing something. So.
Well, they always say to give work to the busiest person because you know it'll get done.
And I know there's a saying I say, hope I get it right now. Pray, and hope, and don't worry. Because prayer is the best enemy we have. Because prayer is the key to God's heart. Ooh. So I like that. I mean, I say that saying. I think I got it right. I think I did.
Sounded good.
But anyhow, I love the church. I love my friends here. Yep. So that's all I can say.
Okay, I'm Mark Duxbury. I came from Emmanuel with Helen. Over there, I did maintenance. I was on session. I was on the commission that closed it. Because and the church decided, the church made its decision. First session did, then the church decided we were broke. So there's no, we had to face facts. So when that commission was started, I was on it. I asked if, they said, when do you want to close? I said, Father's Day would be the last Sunday. Because this was between May and end of June. And because my wife and I used to throw a big tea party on Mother's Day, and then we had something for Father's Day. We usually had a cookout. And Presbytery said, okay, we'll give you a list of ministers. I believe you were there once or twice.
It was.
And then we closed it. And as Helen said, a group of us that were always tight at Emmanuel started looking around for a church. And we went to 3 or 4 different churches, and we settled on here. Now, all of the people that came joined. My wife and I did not join. Okay? But we were friends of the church here. And Bill McCashland, they asked what I did at Emmanuel, and I told him, asked me to help him with some drywall in the music room. So I did that. That's where I got started. I swore when I left Emmanuel I was never going to get involved again. I'm never going to do anything.
Never say never.
And now I'm on session. I'm on the security team. I'm sort of on a kitchen committee, I think, still. I run the thrift store, and everybody else in here except for one works at the thrift store. And let's see. Now Dave is on building and grounds with me, and he mows the grass. Now we do have somebody help with the hill.
I was gonna say, who?
Yeah, we have
does
somebody
all
down
of
the
it?
street that cuts it back for us.
That's great.
And then Dave takes care of the rest. As he said, he's in charge of security. He does help. He cleans up around the church. The stuff you were looking at up in the ceiling, that's my artwork.
Oh, okay.
We have leaks in the roof here,
Yeah.
and we had them fixed, but I'm waiting. I want to see some more rain before I start taking the stuff down.
Yeah, see if it's fixed.
Yeah, I used to have a big garbage can down behind that pole where that little 5-gallon is.
Yeah.
So the roof's, you say the roof was fixed now?
Yes, that has been repaired. And as I say, now the thrift store takes up the whole downstairs. Because we have a cafe in there. And it's successful. We've been very lucky because we had to shut it down during COVID. We just really got started last quarter of last year. And January we didn't have it because of the snow, excuse me. And we've had them ever since. And the best one we've had this year was this month. Because we had a bake sale, and that really brought up our earnings. And that goes directly into the treasury. And I hope we're able to keep it up. We do have a lot of donations from people in the neighborhood and other people. And we have a lot of customers. Now we're still waiting for some of them to come back, which they probably will come back because they love going through the stuff.
You say it's the first Saturday of the month. What's the possibility of being another Saturday? Of it, 2 Saturdays?
I burned the crew out. We're in here Saturday with Wednesday before sorting.
Oh.
And then we have from 9 to 1 on Saturday, the first Saturday. And everybody has their heart and soul in it. And I'm there that whole week before the thrift store. Every day trying to do something or pick something up, straighten up my furniture room.
Bark orders.
I don't bark that many orders. I don't ballpark that much.
He calls the plays for the.
Yeah, there you go, there you go.
Now, there's more to it than that. They also, will take stuff out of the thrift store and donate it to other people.
Right, we
Yeah.
give to the homeless, we give to the vets. We have two groups of homeless people now that we're giving to. We give to outreach.
I've taken stuff to Sub-Zero.
Yeah,
I
so,
know there are
yeah,
churches.
so we're taking them to all different places, so whatever we can't sell, we give to, donate to other groups, so it's not like it's, getting thrown out or anything like that.
We
Plus Planet
donate,
Aid, too.
we donate clothes to a group that gives to the homeless down in Cleveland. We just got set up with that group. In fact, Cindy's friend introduced us to them. And we will give things to Willow Praise.
Right.
And
So you're using it more also as a mission.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Rather
And
than
anybody
just a
comes in,
fundraiser.
because we've had people that have had their house burned down, and we've given them pots and pans, clothes, to at least help them get started. So we do not have large items, we just have small items.
How do you get your items into the building? I mean, do people donate to
Yes.
you?
Yes, yes, it's all donations.
It's all donated.
Okay.
Do you have a central location?